Well, hello and welcome again to our reading of Iliad 3, and we got up to about here. So we've just had Antenor speaking about his encounter with Odysseus and Menelaus. One small correction to the previous video was this word here. My eyesight wasn't let me down a bit. This is not from the I thought this was from the verb to be, but it's not. It's of course from hiemi to. It's an optative to send forth. So this should have been but when, whenever he sent forth a great voice from his chest, a great sound from his chest. So whenever he spoke, but this is actually from hiemi, not from ami to be. So we finished up to this line 225 here. Totriton, and third of all then, Aias, the old man, this of course is Priam, having seen on the third occasion Ianta, so Ajax, Aias, he asked about him. Tis tiar hod alos, who is this other Achaean man, who is Aias, noble and great? So who then is this other Achaean man, noble and great? Exokos, exceeding in head and broad shoulders the Argives. So this takes a genitive, so exceeding, so more than the rest of the Argives in respect of his head and his broad shoulders. And Helen, Tanu Peplos, this is with her thin-robed Helen, replied to him, she who is glorious among women. And she says, Houtos, Aias esti Pelorios. This man is Ajax, is Pelorios Ajax. Pelorios means monstrous, he's huge. He's a very solid guy. Pelor is a monster. So this is monstrous Ajax, the Herkos Achaeon. This is one of his main epithets. Herkos literally means a fence, so perhaps a defence for the Achaeans, often translated using the archaic word bulwark of the Achaeans, but connected with that idea of fencing them off, of protecting them. And Idomeneus Hestaka stands, Hestorethen, on the other side, among the Cretans. Theos hos, notice the accent on hos, so it goes with the word before, like a god. Amphidemin and the Agoi, the rulers or leaders of the Cretans, are gathered, that's passive here, amphi min for auton, around him. Oftentimes, so often, Polaki, Menelaus, who is dear to Ares, now this is from Xenisdo, entertained him in our house. Interesting that Helen says our house when it's not hers anymore, but in our house. Hopoti, whenever, hikoito optative, he might come, Crete then, so that's that then ending, from Crete. But now I see all the others, the Achaeans with their whirling eyes. Again, this word is the debated exact meaning of this one. It's literally with whirling eyes. Whom, we get a ken, I would gnoien, optative, it's first person singular from gignosco, this is the aorist optative, whom I would know well, and I would speak, other optative here, unima for onima, and I would speak their name. But, and that balances, I think, the men up here. So she says, now I can see all the other ones, but this is dual, and we're going to get lots of duals here. I am not able to see doyo, for duo, the two cosmatori. Now these are often translated as marshallers of the people, and this is in the dual. And it's generally, I think, used of Agamemnon, not of anyone else here, but here it's in the dual, referring to these Castor and Pollux. We're about to get on the next line. So she says, I can see all the other Achaeans, etc., but I not able to see the two marshallers of the host. This is from cosmio, to arrange or order, so to put in order, to marshal. And they are Castor, the tamer of horses. There's that hippos root, and dam, from damnami, the horse taming Castor, and Polydeuces, who is good with respect to boxing, pux. These, of course, are her siblings, and she says, auto casigneto. Again, this is dual, my own two brothers. The meaning of this really is that they're real brothers, that they come from the same mother. They're not half brothers or something, but my own two brothers, the two. And it says, one mother bore the two of them for me. So these, my mother bore the two of them. Now we get A and A. So either, and this is a dual here from hepamai is the verb, hespesthein, nor did the two of them, so either the two of them did not come from delightful Lacedaemon, from beautiful Sparta. So either that happened, or, now Duro for Duro with an omicron here, it's the same meaning here, or we get a men, but no depth I can see there. Which often happens in Homer, or they followed here any in their neesin, in their ships which were seagoing. So either they didn't follow, they didn't come from beautiful Sparta, or they came here in their seagoing ships, alte, but now, ou ethelusi, they do not wish, kata domini, this is from kata duo or kata duno, it's to dive down into, so descend into, the Machain, the battle of men. So they did come here in their swift ships, but they do not wish to enter into the battle of men. Didotes, this is from daidia, fearing, so this is a participle, fearing ischia, shameful things, perhaps reproaches, or perhaps I'll probably say that for there, so fearing shameful words, and many reproaches, of which, neuter plural, which are moi for me. So they're worried about being abused because it's their sister Helen who's caused all the troubles, and so she says either they didn't come, or they did come but they don't want to go and fight because they're worried about being abused by others on my account. In fact, by this stage they're not alive. Both of them have died, and I'll leave you to look up books on Greek mythology as to what happens to them. In one version they become stars in heaven and so on. But you can have a read of that somewhere else. but in fact they haven't come at all, because they're already dead. And thus she spoke, and Homer makes this clear in the next line, thus she spoke, and already the Phusitsoos, wheat producing Aya land, that's another word for, it's like Gaia or Gaia or Aya, another word for land. The wheat producing land held them down, i.e. they were buried, they were dead. So thus she spoke, and at that time, so already the wheat producing land held them down there in Sparta, in their dear fatherland. Patris is of course his fatherland, and we get Gaia as well, but so in their dear fatherland. And that's a good place there to stop.